What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Snowcast Sports Talk, episode 23. Again, it's been a little bit of time. This is the dead time of the year, and me and my co-host Josh here did a very good job of timing up big, important life things during the quietest time of the football offseason. But we today are going to go over the preseason, but before that, Josh, how we doing, my friend? Welcome
Dude,
back.
Good. Thanks, man. I mean, our podcast still exists.
It's still a thing.
It is still a thing. You know, I feel like we've put out maybe one episode last week, and I don't even, and maybe not one before that. That we just, like you said, we've been really busy.
Yeah, so you've been traveling for work. I think you traveled and then was home and then traveled another week after that.
Exactly. Yes, I was traveling. I was out of town for 2 weeks in a row, pretty much, and I was in meetings all day and blah blah blah. So
Yeah, it's hard to even keep up. I think that's been the other thing we've talked about off air is like, what's going on right now with the Giants? Like, things are a little quiet, which is kind of nice. You know, when you look in the football world just quickly, you know, we have Deshaun Watson dealing with all these sexual assault allegations in Cleveland and what's going to happen to Baker Mayfield. And then, you know, you obviously have Rob Gronkowski retiring and how's Tom Brady going to do? But, you know, being a Giants fan and me being a little bit more tenured, I actually don't mind them not being in the news a whole lot. I don't mind that. Things are quiet. Things are good. You know, we have coaches in place that we're happy about. We had a draft we're mostly happy about. So, but for the podcast today, guys, really what we wanted to talk about was the preseason coming up. The preseason works in the way of we play 3 games for 3 weeks, and then we have an off week, and then we cut down the team to the 53 and the practice squad, and then we start. So just kind of diving into it, me and Josh were just taking a look at some of these games, and the first game we're playing is the Patriots on a Thursday, that first week of the preseason. So, you know, we were joking a little bit about the Patriots game being a Joe Judge revenge game because the Giants' ex-coach Joe Judge is now back with the Patriots, which is where he was before. He left the Patriots to join the Giants. And then we also have Jabril Peppers, who's on the Patriots now, playing the Giants. So I doubt we'll see Jabril play, and I doubt Joe Judge will be doing anything of significance, but just kind of interesting.
yeah, I mean, are the Patriots even good anymore? Like they used to be.
Oh, that could honestly be its own topic. I think it's going to be really interesting. I think the thing you have to remember about the Patriots, going a little bit off topic here, is
Sure.
the Patriots offensive coordinator is now the Raiders head coach. And as we know through Daniel Jones, when you change offensive systems year to year, it's very tough and taxing on a young quarterback. So we have Josh McDaniels, who was the offensive coordinator last year, and Mac Jones, in every sense of the word, had a pretty good rookie season. He's in a whole new system now, and supposedly Joe Judge is part of it. And again, as Giants fans, we all know Joe Judge is not the best offensive mind. So we'll see if the Patriots are good. But Bill Belichick, an ex-Giant, is still one of the greatest coaches of all time and could still come out with something special. You just never know.
By the way, I'm just for what it's worth, I'm looking at the Patriots defense on PFF, and it's complete crap.
We'll see.
Poop bed.
Belichick is one of the best defensive minds, though. So we'll see. But,
Well,
yeah, the Patriots fans, and I live up near them, will tell you the Patriots never look good on paper. It's the coaching and the play style each week.
Yeah, like even in the old days, Brady,
he never had a lot around him.
he just doesn't look good. Period.
Yeah.
But he's an amazing player. It's like, you know, he's not super like fit, tall, built. He's not fast, and yet he's amazing, or he was, or maybe he still is.
And hey,
So-
you know, I think it's a good test for the Giants, especially some of the younger players, to be able to play against Belichick in the preseason. You know, that's not even something we had built into the script, but it just kind of hit me. Getting to play against a coach like that and being able to kind of, you know, test your football IQ against players who, regardless of how they look on their grade, Bill Belichick's one of the smartest minds in all of football. So he's gonna have these guys ready to go. So I think it's a good test. I like being able to play the Patriots in the preseason where it doesn't matter, but some of our young guys maybe can get some experience.
We'll see what he can do, but you know, there's a such thing as having like stale salad. You can like make the stale salad look as awesome as you want, like presentation, but bad leaves are bad leaves, and I'm looking at some bad leaves.
You're making some bold predictions. I like it. I
I
like
know,
it.
dude. I don't care, man. I really don't. So,
The other games too, they didn't have a whole lot substance there. Then we play the Bengals and we play the Jets. And, both those teams, Bengals obviously coming off a Super Bowl loss, but it's just the preseason. Joe Burrow's not going to play. It's not going to be anything. And the Jets and the Giants always play against each other in the preseason. And, I think native New Yorkers really, that's like a rivalry game. But, really the thing I want to talk about was some of these players we're going to see and not see in the preseason. So the first thing is, out of all the rookies, and I wanted to, again, this really isn't built in, but I'm kind of thinking about it. It will not shock me if we don't see Evan Neal or Kayvon in any preseason snaps.
just to like avoid injury.
Exactly.
I feel like they're rookies though. Don't they need just a little bit of experience before they get in a real ass game?
Maybe. I mean, the most I could see is maybe for the first drive, bring out the first team on the first drive so Jones comes out with the starting offensive line. Again, I don't think they'll play Jones or Saquon though. I really think they're going to take a very conservative approach to try to get to the first game against the Titans with a really healthy roster.
I mean,
if you were the coach, what would you do?
Well, first of all, let's talk about the structure. I'll answer your question, but the structure of preseason games, right? Are they full blast, tackling as hard as they can in preseason games? It seems like they would
let me put it like this.
70%.
Let me put it like this, Josh. So before we started recording, we were kind of thinking about, some things we wanted to discuss during this episode. And so we were looking at some of the big dates coming up, and Josh said, oh yeah, they have to cut and get to a certain number of players. I think it was 80, or it was 100 or 80, and then the 53. Not being too specific, but obviously that's a thing. And the thing, Josh, is you have to remember, these guys that are getting cut, when they're playing on those preseason games, they're playing for their careers. It's an audition tape, because let's say I'm on the Giants, I'm a wide receiver, and I know I'm going to get cut. If I play half-assed at 70% and I get cut, no one's going to pick me up. But if I give everything I have, then at least my film is out there for someone to see. The preseason's really a great way for young guys that are really trying to get into the NFL to get some film out there. So, yeah, these guys are playing 100%. I've seen some pretty serious injuries in the preseason, and these guys they may not count for anything, but they want to make the team they're on. They want to go out there and be a Victor Cruz. Victor Cruz had a huge preseason game against the Jets, and then he became a Super Bowl champion wide receiver for the Giants. So these guys are playing serious.
I guess that's a good point in terms of the ones that are not guaranteed a spot playing as hard as they can.
Of course. And how many of them are there, Josh? They cut the team down from 100 to 50? That's half the team. Or 80 to 50? That's more than a third.
I mean, I wouldn't take them out of the game and not give them a single snap. It's you can't trust them to be on the field for just a few snaps in preseason. How are you supposed to trust them in the freaking real games? Look, I think they're rookies. They need at least a little experience before they get into the real NFL games. I think they needed to see at least a few snaps, and by a few, I don't mean two. By a few, I mean maybe 10 or less, 10 at the most.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. I'm just saying, I really think, the Giants dealt with a lot of injuries last year. I mean, that was, I know, we've been kind of working our way through last season and rewatching it and all this stuff. But, you look back at it and you see, geez, these guys just can't get on the field and they're getting injured all the time. So it would not shock me if Brian Daboll and Shane and this whole new offense, or this whole new coaching staff, take a real conservative approach trying to keep these guys as healthy as possible, because a lot of them are rehabbing anyway. You see Kadarius Toney in a red jersey, Sterling Shepard in a red jersey, Saquon Barkley in a red jersey, Daniel Jones in a red jersey. Hell, Kayvon was in a red jersey. That means when you're on the field during training camp, no one can touch you. They are not allowed to touch you because you're dealing with an injury. So it's
They
like,
can touch you. They can like. Poke
yeah, of course, but I'm saying like they're like.
I know what you mean.
And so it, it's very. I think they're going to take it very seriously. We'll see though.
I mean,
maybe Evan Neal gets a little time, but I don't think Kayvon will get any time in the preseason.
If you instead don't think about it from like a human or like a player perspective of experience and stuff, if you don't think of it that way and think of it more as a multi-million-dollar asset, if you think of it more like that, then I could see why you'd be more conservative.
And it's trying to find the perfect mix. It's trying to find, what's that perfect blend of getting these guys a little bit of action so that they're kind of prepared for it. And,
I think they can see a few. If they get injured, like, what the fuck, dude?
we just had to take the podcast now and make it R-rated. No, I'm just kidding.
I'm sorry, man. You just cut that so part out.
No, I'm with you, Josh. But it's like at the same time, man. We're gonna go through the season. You're gonna see injuries just pop out of nowhere. Like I saw Odell in the Super Bowl. He had an injury where no one touched him, and his knee gave out. It happens. So we'll see. It's a tough conversation, but. Because of that, it kind of leads into this next topic, so we're going to see some backup players. And
yeah, I expect to see a lot of backup.
And that's cool. And that's really cool because we get to see draft picks in the later rounds. Me and Josh are going back and looking at our notes. We get to see people like DJ Davidson, Marcus McThien, and Darian Beavers. Who?
McFadden.
McFadden we should be able to get to see. So with that, when you follow the Giants at this level, bringing in the backups is actually really exciting.
Yeah, I do want to see some of these other draft picks play. We might see Flott, maybe
Flott's gonna be tough. Flott and Wan'Dale are again up in the air for me because if you look at our cornerback room, Flott might be a day one starter.
I know that's. So touching on what you said, where you're talking about day one starters being like possibly Flott, possibly Bellinger, the tight end.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Like, well, if they are a starter, then would it be a telling sign if you don't see them in the preseason that much?
Yeah, yes. It's very.
Oh, well, then they're probably a starter then.
Yep. Or if they're out with the starting team. And they only do like the first drive. So like the past couple years when I've watched the preseason, like Daniel Jones came out for one drive, they went down the field or they went 3 and out, and then he's out of the game.
Yeah, so, that's sort of what I expect as well.
So we might see Bellinger, and then he might leave. And if that's the case, then yeah, you're damn right. He's probably a starter.
That's a really good point. It's just like who's on the first drive in the first preseason game. That could be
a tell
into who's the starting lineup in the coming season.
And you have to, yeah, it very well could be the case. But what's going to be, I think the thing I'm a little bit more excited about is when you get into like the second half of the game, like the third quarter and the fourth quarter, we're going to see guys like DJ Davidson playing nose tackle, and that's going to be interesting. Getting to see a D tackle picked in the 5th round. And getting to see, what he's made of when you take Dexter Lawrence and Leonard Williams out of it. And getting to see, me and Josh watched some film on him. He's a big guy. He's a little one-dimensional. It's really just a bull-rushing, nose tackle who's just going to push over people. But he's a super strong kid.
Yeah, he's not big enough for probably being on the offensive line, but he's big enough for the defensive line and being, effective, I think. So I'm hoping to see if he can just, bully his way to the quarterback, swat some passes. We saw in the film, he swatted 2 passes, at least on the film we saw. So, hey, seems like he's got a knack for that. Maybe he can get his hands up and we'll see some. Maybe he could do something.
Yeah, and then
Or at least close holes. At the very least, just like closing run holes.
Yeah,
You know?
exactly. That's a nose tackle's job. That's nose. So the way like the philosophy is if you're in the interior of the defensive line, you're stopping the run, and if you're in the exterior, you're going to hit the quarterback. So yeah, just being a good run stopper, being maybe Dexter Lawrence or Leonard Williams backup. And, we get to see people like Darian Beavers. He was the last pick in the draft. And I remember Giants fans were really excited about him. And I remember me and Josh watched the film on him. And we were both like, holy shit, like this guy is a tackling blitz machine. Like, he's going to love Wink Martindale's system. So giving him some serious playing time is pretty exciting too.
Yeah, it is pretty exciting. I noticed you put his name in all caps. I don't know why, but no, but none of the other players are in all caps. But yeah, I remember watching his film, and he was like a real a scheme fit for us in terms of the defense and the blitzing and the pressure, the high pressure. So
getting to the ball quick and really being a good tackler.
Yeah.
So those are things that the preseason is going to give us a great chance to watch when you have Blake Martinez, and I really think McFadden might be another starter. He's the other linebacker that we picked up as well. So I could see McFadden and Martinez being our 1 and 2, and then Beavers getting a little bit more playing time. So
yeah, I want to see some Beavers in the backfield.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing with these linebackers is, we need to see them be able to also block the tight end and be able to be a little bit more versatile. And, a lot of these later round picks, that's usually the knock on them is they're good at one thing and that's about it. And so, it makes it easy for other teams to scheme a nice play up against them. So, yeah, I think.
Yeah, and it would be so hype if Dane Belton, for example, gets an interception, or something like that. That would be oh shit, that'd be wow, holy moly, that's really cool.
You know what the tough thing is though is they have a big game in the preseason. They're playing against people that aren't going to be on the team, so it's almost just like a pee-wee game, and it's hard to figure out if the player's good or if they're just like the biggest fish in a small pond. You know what I'm saying? They're not playing against Tom Brady. They're playing against a quarterback that might make more mistakes than the average quarterback. So it's tough. But, you want to see what you really look for, I think, is that instinct. Do you want to see them getting to the ball? Because that doesn't change no matter who's holding it. Do you want to see if they can swat the ball? That doesn't change on who's holding it, Interceptions are tough. It depends on the interception. Does he read a route and jump in front of the receiver, or is the ball thrown to him? If the ball's thrown to him, it's like, well, shit, okay, the quarterback sucks. So, it's those kinds of things where, you'll look at the play and go, oh, wait, no, that's impressive. He read the play and his football IQ is showing. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly, yeah. You can tell. You can tell on any play if it was more of the defense being really good or the offense not being very good at all. And that's, sometimes it's a mix, but we can tell,
And I'd love to see these guys ball out. I think that'd be really, really cool. So let's make a quick prediction now. What player in the preseason are we going to see play that we are the most excited about? Rookie that you are just the most excited. I have mine. I don't know if you have yours. I can go first if you want me to.
You go first.
I think Darian Beavers is going to get more playing time than he should, and I think he's going to be a level above all the other players. I really like Darian Beavers as a pick. I think as a linebacker, he's a little bit more versatile than maybe a McFadden. I know that might piss off a couple people. I know my buddy Kid Blue is a big McFadden fan. But for me, I really like Beavers. I think he's very versatile for his draft pick, but I think he's also a really nice scheme fit. And I think we're going to see handoffs and backwards passes to the running back. Beavers is kind of a beast at stopping those. He's just got that nose for the ball. And I think we're going to see a lot of that. And I think because of that, the Giants will definitely not cut him. He's a guy that'll be a building block, if not just, a backup, but a building block.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty excited for Darian Beavers too, just because if he does end up doing well, it'll be like a big comeback story. He was number 182 overall.
And he fell. He fell in the draft. People were shocked he fell that low.
Yeah, so that would be exciting. But I don't want to pick the same person, so I'm going to pick, let's see, I'm going to pick probably Daniel Bellinger. I know you said that he might be a starter, but...
I'm excited to see him.
I want to see him. I just want to see him. I want to see what he can do. I want to see him in pads. I want to see him going for catches. I want to see what this guy can provide for our
I want to
tight
see
end.
him blocking.
Blocking too.
You know what?
Blocking too.
You know what's cool too? So Travis Kelce and George Kittle, that's the Chiefs tight end and the 49ers tight end. And if like you ask anyone who the best tight ends in the NFL are, it's those two. They do a camp every year, and Bellinger is at that camp this week. So I saw on his Instagram story. So he gets to sit down and talk with George Kittle and Travis Kelce and learn as much as he can from them. So that's really cool that he's going as a rookie, going into this year. I think, if he plays, I'm excited. But I'm telling you, in the third and the fourth quarter of these preseason games, I don't know how much we'll see of him. But maybe. You never know.
Yeah. And you know what else, though? You know what I'm also excited about? I'm also excited in the preseason games to learn more about all of those other players that are backups that are not rookies from the draft, but just players that are already on the team that I'm not very familiar with yet. Like, I'm sure there's a lot of backups that I don't even know their name existed. So I'm going to end up learning a lot about all of our backups too.
You know what and you know what I'm excited about too, just to cut you off very quickly. I'm excited once we get into the football season too, when we can you'll learn so much about the other teams. Like by the end of next season, you're going to know so much about every other team. It's ridiculous. Just because the Giants are going to play so many of them that we will, study up on them. You'll watch a whole game of them, So I'm excited for that.
Yeah, that will be fun as well. So there will be a good number of teams that I'm going to end up learning a lot about. Maybe 12 or 10 or however many it is.
End of next year, I'm going to do a quiz. I'm going to ask you the starting quarterback for every team, and you're going to know them. You will know them. I'm betting every team. Go ahead, quiz me. Just ask a team. I'll tell you the starting quarterback.
Baltimore Ravens.
Lamar Jackson.
How do I know you're right? Like,
look it up.
Making it up.
I mean, we also have it on podcast proof.
Okay, I'll look it up later. Bengals.
Joe Burrow. Here's the question. Browns is tough, but it's Deshaun Watson unless he gets suspended for all time.
Raiders.
Derek Carr.
Jaguars.
Trevor Lawrence.
Falcons.
Marcus Mariota.
Steelers.
It's tough to tell, but I can name you the two. It's Kenny Pickett or Mitchell Trubisky. One's a rookie and one came from the Bills, but we'll see.
Dang, dude. The Bears?
Bears, Justin Fields. That's who they picked with the Giants pick. I'm telling you, dude. Saints is Jameis Winston.
Raiders?
Derek Carr.
I already mentioned them, didn't I?
It's all right. You're just going back. You're just making sure I don't say a different name.
Right. Okay. One last one, okay?
Okay, go ahead.
Buccaneers.
Tom Brady.
Oh, that was too easy. All right, Eagles.
Oh, that's Hurts. Jalen Hurts.
All right, okay. I believe you. I'm sure there's some more teams.
I'm waiting. Chat or listener, next year we're gonna have a podcast and it's gonna be the pop quiz of football, and we're gonna put Josh through it, and he's gonna be shocked how much he knows.
I guarantee you I will not know all the quarterbacks. Like, my memory's not good.
I guarantee you'll know them. I don't have a good memory either, but it's just like once you do it enough.
Listen to this guy. Well, I don't have a good memory either.
I don't. I don't. It's just that you watch so much of it. Either way, viewers, beware. It's going to come next year. We're going to have the football quiz.
All right. Like every player in the NFL, like every single starting player on every team. I don't really have a good memory.
I definitely don't. Like if you said wide receivers, I could maybe name you like one from each, or like running backs maybe, and then defenses I don't know, and coaches maybe I don't know, but quarterbacks, yeah, you definitely follow. But hey, what a great segue into our last topic. Don't look so sad, by the way, Josh. Don't look so sad. We're going to quiz you. You're going to love it. You're going to have a great time. And you're at the end, you're going to be like, wow, Will, I didn't expect to know all that. I'm impressed.
All right, I will do that if that happens. But
there you go. See? All right, last topic we want to talk about with the preseason is my bold prediction that we are going to leave the preseason with a quarterback controversy. Tyrod Taylor is going to get a lot of playing time. And when we watch Tyrod play in Brian Dable's system and Mike Kafka's system, which I suspect is going to be a very robust, refined, innovative NFL offensive scheme, there will be people who don't want Daniel Jones to start. Because Tyrod's going to play well enough.
How do you know he will play well? What if he doesn't?
Because Tyrod Taylor's been in the league, I want to say, for 9 years or maybe 12 years, something like that. And he has always been a very, very decent quarterback. And if you watch Daniel Jones over the past 4 years, no one can say he's been a very, very decent quarterback. He's had some great games and some horrible games. It's not been like Tyrod Taylor's a very even keel. You know what he can do. But if you put the right pieces around him, I mean, he's gone to the playoffs before. So I'm telling you, we're going to watch Tyrod Taylor play. What's going to happen is Daniel Jones is the starter. Of course he is. It's his year to prove himself. Daniel Jones will be the starter. I am not saying that the Giants will play Tyrod over Daniel Jones. That would be stupid. But I am telling you that Tyrod Taylor will be more competent and more effective than people have expected, and we'll be able to see him in this new offense before we really get to see Daniel Jones, because we'll see him in the preseason. And when we see that, there will be people calling for Tyrod to start.
Oh, boy. That does sound like a controversy. Tyrod. You know, let's say that he does really well. Let's say he does, like, amazingly well. Even then, I think they'll still start Daniel Jones.
You have to. It's logical.
You could see a shift, though. Like, after a few games, you could start seeing him in more often. They will switch. Like,
let's say Jones has a bad start. Let's say Jones has a bad couple games.
Yeah, I do not think the coaches are at all afraid of swapping Daniel Jones in.
No way.
Tyrod in.
Yeah.
Like, I'm saying over time, not like...
Not week one. Not week one. They want to see what they have in Jones. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. But if Daniel Jones shows that he's not really performing with this whole new line that he has, that should be a lot better than last year.
Ranked number 18, by the way, by PFF.
Oh, is it?
Got ranked before the season starts, so at least on paper.
Wow. I didn't even see it. Well, look at that. It ranked 18
out of 32.
That's not very good. That's
look, we were 30. We were 30. We were 32 last year.
Okay, so there you go. So it should be a lot better. So if Jones doesn't show up, Tyrod will. I think they'll at least give him that shot anyway.
I really think it's going to be something where the Giants. I don't think the NFL world as a whole understands what's going on with the Giants right now. I think Giants fans do. You watch some of these other Giants podcasts and Giants content creators, and they understand it. You know, they're talking about it, and it's like, okay, yeah, we have a real coach in place. We have a real offensive coordinator in place, and we have a real team right now. We do. We do have a real team. But the thing people don't understand is the difference it's going to be from last year. You talk to the mediocre football fan. I have friends like that for sure. They're like, well, Giants are the Giants. What a dumb take. Like, you know nothing. And I'm telling you, Tyrod's going to be the guy who shows everyone that. The Giants will look competent in the preseason. They will look competent.
Yeah, and...
it's going to get eyes because Daniel Jones has not looked competent, and he's been injury-prone the last few years. So we'll see. But I'm just... That's my bold prediction.
Yeah, I also think that the Giants are going to... They're sort of... All the Giants fans, you know, because we're local and we are... You know, we're following them very closely, and, you know, everybody else, they follow their team very closely. I feel like we can all kind of see the storm coming. You know, the storm, the good in a good way, like the storm of wins.
Yeah, it feels different.
We can see the feeling. We can see that the weather is changing. You know, and we're trying to tell people, hey guys, we got something going on over here. We don't know what's about to go down, but something's about to go down this season. And I don't know that a lot of other teams are paying attention.
Or broadcasters or like major sports networks like Fox or ESPN, stuff like that. They don't talk about it. It's not, you know, I watch them talk about who's the best quarterback in the NFC, and they all ranked Jones as number 4. So they put Carson Wentz, Dak Prescott, and Jalen Hurts ahead of them. And so,
Yeah.
but that's the way people look at the Giants. And you know what? I understand it. I don't disagree with it. But it's like, damn, like you haven't watched like the past 2 months, and you don't understand like what's going on, which is okay. They could be right in the end. The Giants could flop again. You know what? We were excited about Joe Judge, but it's like this time just feels different. There's a proven track record with who we have in place running our team.
Dude, I'm telling you right now, if the Giants flop,
it's gonna be devastating.
After all of this,
it'd be devastating.
Then I will never, ever have any faith ever again that getting a new coaching scheme and getting 2 first-round picks in the first round,
two top picks in the first round.
Two top picks in the first round. I will never have faith ever again that even doing that will make any difference, because in terms of like all of the hype, all of the sort of like the good energy, the good vibes, if we still flop, it all means nothing. It's like,
we'll see, man. I'm just telling you, we thought Pat Shurmur 2 coaches ago was an offensive genius, and it flopped. And we thought Eric Flowers and Eli Apple were decent picks in the first round, and they flopped. So it can happen, but it feels it feels different. It feels different.
It does feel different, but you know what? I'm not just being devil's advocate here for just a second. Everybody's saying it feels different. It feels different, and it does feel different. But it seems almost like that, like when you I don't know, maybe you're like in a bad relationship or whatever, and say you break up with this person, and then that person comes back and it's gonna be different this time, I promise.
That's what being a Giants fan is like. Us and John Mara.
And then it just happens again.
Yeah, that's us. That's us and John Mara. That's us and John Mara. So yeah.
But it does really feel different. So
yeah, I'm super optimistic. If you've watched this podcast, Josh, you've been here now for a while. Yeah, I'm optimistic, but it's like we need to understand it all could go horrible. There's nothing a guarantee in this league.
And I think to keep a clear head, whenever we say we think good things are going to happen this season, we're not talking they're guaranteed to make the playoffs type of good.
No. Just improvement. Improvement.
Yeah, we're saying we're going to see a big improvement from last year.
Competitive.
So we could be competitive. We might even get a tied score. You know what I mean?
Yeah. In the
get,
division.
Yeah, what I mean by a tied score, I mean wins equals losses.
Yeah, break even. We could break even.
Yeah, we could even break even. That's a big deal for the Giants. So breaking even would be huge.
If we win 10 games, that's more than we've won in the last 2 years put together.
If we win 10 games, that's going to that's wild card level.
Yeah. It'd be awesome. It would be awesome. So keep your hopes up, everyone. I don't know, Josh, did you have any final thoughts before we close it out here?
I appreciate you asking, but I think I've said what I needed to say.
As long as you just are ready, you're going to know every quarterback by the end of the next season. But on that note, everyone, thank you so much for listening. We appreciate you sticking with us through this quiet time. Trust me, once the preseason gets here, I was actually thinking about it. It's going to be a great test for me and Josh to figure out what we want to talk about when we actually watch a game, how we want to time it. So, when the game goes, how do we record it? Do we do it right after? Do we do it the day after? There's going to be so many things me and Josh get to figure out during this preseason, which is also exciting. So stick around, guys. It's only going to get better. And Josh, thanks for being here. And go Giants.
Go Giants.